great to work with them together. And of course, it's great panelists, such a great Jacob and MMA. Jacob, it's fantastic for what you did with arts and with what you're doing. It's fantastic. It's great to be among such a great panel. I think this is a very fascinating, really, issue, and the way the new look to this issue of art criticism and journalism sort of dwelled on me suddenly. I realized how strangely vital it is and how descriptive it is of many things that we came to talk and to know about mainstream criticism. In the process of that talk, panel discussion that was just held at MoCA, Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles, and that was sponsored by Annenberg School of Communication, which is a very distinctive body, and it was presided and moderated by the head of Art Journalism School of Annenberg. Very substantial. And we were there with Germany. And my personal sensation was absolute amazement that every, and don't take me wrong, enormous, bright, superbly intelligent member of this panel balked viciously at any attempt to describe them as journalists. At one point, moderator came into the point, oh my God, you're almost treating journalism as a dirty word. To me, that was enormously telling, because as this great quote that I think Jeremy found from your review, which was fantastic for bars, that we found ourselves in a strange and fascinating situation, much like the entire rest of the art world. The modernism that came as the rebellious movement, oppressed became oppressors once they assumed full reins of power. So the issue that we deal here is not aesthetic preference. Do we like this type of art more than this type of art? Is the access to power and ability to control of channels of communications. And in this sense, I think that distinction between journalism and criticism was so revealing on the part of the panel. They see themselves quite clearly, as I realized, as more propagandists, more people engaged in propaganda and advertisement, rather than in journalism as a profession, meaning describing objectively the events in front of them. So in this case, and obviously the same journalistic standards, the high bar of journalism, which is one of the pinnacle of a free society. The journalists are one of the essence, the fourth estate, as eroded as it is, which is another issue. It's erosion in the institutions that we see across the board. But modern art establishment, as part of these eroded institutions that are corrupt, in my view, lost any credibility. They lost any through the loss of a control of the exclusivity to the channels of information via internet. And the second enormous loss that they sustain in the is a loss of any credibility. And I think Kunz and Hearst effect is enormous. I think Kunz and Hearst is a subprime of the art world. It's a subprime of the art world. It's unsubstantiated by any real value spun out passive. So that inherent lack of credibility by being conscious and willing collaborators and essentially promoters of special financial interests under the guise of media. That is, I think, where, and face it, I see that clearly, and I'm wondering if members of the panel share that the institutions are in a deep state of crisis right now. Deep state of crisis. That's why, James, I absolutely agree with you. It's much better not to have anything to do with them. Because if they're going down, they don't want to be covered with rubble. We're in the best situation possible, but at the same time, to bring the clarity to the process in front of us. It's enormously engaging, but I think this is, in that sense, what I heard from that Annenberg people. That's why the journalism kicks in. That's, I think, journalism as a high bar of credibility, of unattached and unaffiliation. And of course, that's another issue. Of course, there is a passion to criticism. But the knowledge and unaffiliation to specifically designated interest of putting the air into the next appropriately designated bubble, whether it's Kunzhurst or whoever that is next designated would be. Now, that would never stand to any scrutiny of high journalism. That's why they absolutely don't want to have anything to do, and that's why journalism for them is a dirty word, because journalism still stands for credibility.
All right, thanks. You know, there's another part to your answer. You know, we said Kunz and Hearst, the subprime of our world.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have a comment on that?
Well, the entire art, the establishment, the official, what is the official art of the world today? What gets all the governmental monies? Museums. I'm a museum director, and let me tell you, the museums of the United States are in essence almost the enemy of a vital, well-rounded art world. I mean, they have their special interest in the money that they're considering. I mean, there are exceptions. The Springfield Museum being fine.
But just to that.
Yeah, well, okay. And but by and large, the major arts institutions, the schools and the art museums, they're a part of the problem. And they are hollowed out. They really have nothing for the future. They're deconstructionists, and deconstructionists know how to deconstruct, but they don't know how to construct. And the constructionists of Russia were actually deconstructionists. Anyway, so I see these artists as merely being the tip of the iceberg of a very shallow stream that is slowly drying up, and in the future, I can't see that monolithic modernism will be where we're at.
And the thing is that if and that's the thing with James' point, that the money market issue now is the driver, which is absolutely right. And that switch that happens somewhere, we can probably, and that's more to our historian down the road to find where is that switch occurred, where it became the instrument, literally in the Wall Street sense, an instrument, monetary instrument. And there are all these talks about, you know, some practices of buybacks, guaranteed buybacks, you know, all of these things, that it became a financial instrument. And at that point, it caves in.
I agree with this. I think one of the things, though, I don't want to sort of be undermining, but I agree so completely with what you're saying, with the complete, what you might call in biology, speciation of the contemporary art scene from anything that I'm interested in. And I feel like I grew up long after that had already happened, which makes me feel like the art world is as relevant to me as many, many other things. And I'm not crusading to fix those other things. So, and I think part of a struggle that I went through when I was quite young, maybe in my early 20s, was the realization that I couldn't fix that world, I couldn't have anything to do with it, and the only thing that would come out of my engagement of it would be that the toxin would get on me. That my attempt to overturn it, to rectify it, to punish them all was going to make me, in my interior, feel bad, and then probably transform me into some version of itself. And this isn't even to say, I don't even want to be standing up here and saying how bad they are, because a lot of people that I know who are engaged in that aren't so bad, and it's what they do, and they're enthusiastic about it, and they're fun or nice or smart, but they're doing something that I feel like I can't touch. And I mean, so it's a little bit counter to the project that we're all here for, but it's to say my policy has been of total disengagement with the idea that, look, if I want there to be a better art school, you go make a better art school. Don't try to fix those ones. I mean, it sounds a little bit defeatist, but they're not fixable. And if I want there to be a better art market, well, I've been thinking hard. How do you make there be a better art market? And I don't think it has to do with absorbing the negativity. And I think this relates to your original point, Jeremy, about whether we should be emulating Alfred Barr's minions